favorite B Lady T in the place to be. And this is Bedtime Stories. We're reading A Deeper Love Inside, the Portia Santiago story, written by Sister Souljah. And we are on to chapter 5. But before we go into chapter 5, let me just read the last paragraph of chapter 4 so we can jump right back in, all right? So, the last two paragraphs. Siri was the only warmth in a cold, cold place. She was soft and loving. She was into fashion and looked like she belonged on a Benetton's ad, draped in expensive Angora or cashmere sweaters made of thick and colorful yarns. She wasn't a conceited bitch. She was quiet and exclusively mine. When I heard music in my mind, Siri would hum along with it. Siri, hearing her hum was real soothing and different. I mean, I was in love with music of all kinds, especially songs that made me catch feelings or remember memories. I was used to hearing the beatbox rhymes and all the types of voices and instruments. I didn't have no right name for it, but Siri was like a professional hummer. Her voice massaged me, even when it was beneath a breakbeat. She was the soundtrack to the film that I didn't want to be starring in, but was. No matter who else I might fought or maneuvered around with me, and Siri had been inseparable since we had met in the cold, dark dorm. What's going on, Steph? How you doing? So we're going to get into chapter 5 right now, okay? Let me see. Yeah, we could do 5 and 6 tonight. For sure. Maybe even 7, depending. Because they're kind of short chapters. All right. Chair was cemented to the floor. Ankles chained to the chair in the library. I'm a little girl, but I'm wearing the red jumper again, which means I had a recent violent episode and a stay in isolation. A small, tight cell, barely big enough for one, which the guards called the bottom. Normally, my age group, all girls up to age 10, wear baby blue jail jumpers. But no matter your age, if you fight or fight back, they call it violence. Violent girls of all ages up to 16, because at 16, you can't stay here in this lockup no more, got locked in the bottom in a 10-foot by 10-foot cell, sometimes naked. No matter how long you're in isolation, when you get out, the guards hand you a red jumper and says, get dressed. For 2 weeks after being locked down in isolation, everywhere you go, either your ankles or wrists or both sets are chained and cuffed, while the other inmates are hands and foot free. Like everybody, I still had to go to class, but in each class, there were a few seats reserved for girls with ongoing behavior problems like me. All seats were already cemented to the floor, but the hot seats were equipped with ankle cuffs so violent girls couldn't move left or right or even stand up straight. At the end of each class, a guard posted outside will remove the cuffs, escort me to the next class, and lock me in the same type of chair all over again. The authorities thought they was embarrassing us, violent girls, for fighting. The warden stayed preaching that non-violent shit, like she had no idea what was really going on, who was sparking shit up, or how to stop it. She claimed that if we kept wilding, she would just put I'm sorry. She would just put through the order to build classes with cages, one student to a cage, like we're wildlife, not humans. We would we young ones always did and thought opposite from the warden and them. Wearing red in the eyes of many girls locked down boosted my status, got me props, high fives, and favors. Some who wouldn't speak to me before would try to get next to me when I was red, hoping my style and status would rub off on them. So those were the ones I yanked around like puppets. What's up, young MIA? My eyes moved around the library, a space I had never been in before. I was searching for riot. She sent me a kite asking me to meet her up in there, but must have gotten read that I had gotten into another fight the day after I got ganged up with her. Although I wasn't sure if her angle was going to be that my fighting made me look bad or made her look bad, it didn't matter though. I live in the C dorm with the bad young bitches. Riot lived in the B dorm with the 11 to 13s. Even though I had linked up with Diamond Needles, I still had to hold it down in my dorm no matter what. The library was kind of empty, except for the librarian who was weaving in and out of the shelves, pushing a wheel cart loaded with all types of books. There were 3 inmates reading quietly, but all separate from another. And an inmate who had seated between, I'm sorry, let me get these glasses together. I should have put my other ones on. This is so sad. This girl ain't but 10 years old. And to think that they are putting these kids in isolation naked. And you know, Sister Soldier's basing it on her knowledge of the way that these juvenile detention homes, and then they try to name it something like juvenile detention to make it seem a little less, I guess it's more palatable, palatable. You know what I'm trying to say. I guess we could tolerate it a little bit more when you call it a juvenile detention home. But it's jail, and they got little babies up in there, naked in the isolation. The fact that they're going into isolation, my God. The library was kind of empty, except for the librarian who was weaving in and out of the shelves, pushing a wheel cart loaded down with all types of books. There were 3 inmates reading quietly, but all separate from one another, and an inmate who was seated between the front desk. She caught my eyes more than the others. A beige tan jail jumper she was wearing, which meant she was aged 15 or 16, Puerto Rican. That's what she was. I could tell. Her butterscotch complexion and that tan jumper she wore was close in color. She cut her black hair short and had it styled nice. I noticed how the older girls up in here try to keep the fashion flow. She had dark eyes and long lashes. Her eyes weren't big. Her eyes weren't big and round, but were wide and curved nicely. More than that, she was wearing gold earrings, small ones that didn't dangle, but the gold was real. It stood out for me, of course. How did she manage to have them when jewels were forbidden? How did she manage to wear them and anybody could see them and then look at themselves not having none to rock? She had clout. That was my conclusion. I exhaled, tired of waiting on Riot. It didn't matter though. I couldn't move, couldn't leave. Once I requested the library, I had to remain here and wait out the whole hour till the guard reappeared to release me. Butterscotch stood up. She was tall, not doofy tall or man tall, a nice height like Winter. She was slim, but had that nice figure, the type that made men on my Brooklyn block call out, "Mommy, let me talk to you for a minute." She was coming my way. Her strut was nice. Maybe 5.5 years from now, when my 8-year sentence is served out, I would have a strut more meaner than hers. "Can you read?" she asked me. As she laid a book on my desktop, I ain't answer her. She was pretty, her voice was nice, and her tone wasn't shitty or bossy, but still had insulted me. So fuck her. She strutted back to where she came from. Her question, "Can you read?" reminded me of Miss Jenkins, my first grade teacher. I learned my letters in kindergarten, but Miss Jenkins taught me to read. The first day of class, she said, "If you can't read or write, you can't do anything." We were all little and quiet, and if the rest of the kids were thinking like me, they were probably only half listening and dreaming of being at home with mama. When I was little, whenever I wasn't at home, I always felt like I was missing out on something, maybe even something big. Miss Jenkins made herself clear. She taught us one sentence: "I will be responsible for myself." She made us each write it 100 times and repeat it 10 times and recite it in our own in our own 5 times. Close to the end of our first day of first grade, she handed out a paper and gave us a quiz on our little lesson. She collected the papers 10 minutes after she handed them out. Then she gave us each someone else's paper to correct. Next, she went up to the blackboard in the groups of four. She said we were playing a game called Challenge. She called out a word, and we had to write the word on the board swiftly. The winner was the student who wrote it on the board the fastest and who spelled the word correctly. Her teaching style jerked us out of our dreams and made us feel pressed. As long as our day with one teacher in one classroom came to an end, Ms. Jenkins pulled out a tin can of goodies and gave every student who scored 100 on the quiz a foil wrapped candy like mini Reese's peanut butter cups or Hershey's chocolate kiss. She gave, I would prefer the peanut butter cup. The winner of the challenge game an unusual and pretty pencil case that was see-through on one side with a slide down cover. It was filled with decorated pencils and even a pencil sharpener. On the first day of first grade, Miss Jenkins made me want to win. Now I could get any kind of food or candy gift at home, of course. We lived in the projects and we had everything to choose from because Papa kept us living and eating very well. But what Miss Jenkins did was different. She filled us with the feeling that we had to work to win, that we had to focus to learn. And whatever was happening anywhere outside of her class didn't matter. We had to get it right or get exposed and embarrassed. Hold on one second. It's give me a second, young and mine. I'm not trying to read the 51. On our second day in first grade class, as soon as we arrived, she handed out blank sheets of paper and gave us our second quiz. We couldn't believe it. We just looked around at each other. Learning is not only repeating, she told us. Learning includes remembering, she said, slowly pronouncing each word. Everything you learn should be remembered and used in your life. When she collected our papers, she made every student stand. She called out our names and separated us into two groups. These are the students who remembered, she pointed. These are the students who forgot, she pointed. I immediately she gave each student in the group who remembered a big bag of multicolored marbles. The kids who forgot, if you don't learn to read and write, you can't do anything. We stood there feeling ashamed. Shame was a new feeling for me. I was a rich girl from a rich family, the best family in Brooklyn. I never had a reason to feel shame before I met Miss Jenkins. As we, the forgotters, had to remain standing, answering Miss Jenkins like we was in a chorus. I got red and redder. Miss Jenkins called out, "If you don't learn to read and write, whose fault is it?" Then she taught us all to respond by saying it out loud. "If I don't learn to read or write, then it's my fault." At the end of class, I took my paper to Miss Jenkins. "I got a 95, I said to her. She looked down at me and said, "That's not 100. Who? Miss Jenkins wasn't playing. When I told Mama, she said, "Fuck her. Who does she think she is messing with? My pretty baby." Later that night, Mama gave me a card plastered with gold stars that she must have gotten from the 5 and dime. Now I had 100 gold stars from my mama, but somehow I still wanted the 1 gold star and that 100% from Miss Jenkins. By the end of first grade, I could read and write very well. I enjoyed reading and writing to impress Miss Jenkins, a teacher who we spent so much time with that one day I accidentally called her mommy. Even though I admired Miss Jenkins, I didn't enjoy reading books on my own because the books were all boring. My real life was way better. As the best learners and rememberers were rewarded daily and immediately by Miss Jenkins, I learned the deeper meaning of what she meant when she told us, if you don't learn to read and write, you can't do anything. As those of us who learned to read and write well sat watching a Disney animation film on a huge portable white and silver screen while Miss Jenkins' personal popcorn popper popped popcorn and her hot plate melted the butter, the forgetting, slow learning kids sat in a corner rewriting their mistakes 100 times. There was no movie, no popcorn, no butter, no fun or relief for them. They couldn't even see the screen. They couldn't do nothing. Everybody knew who they were. I wasn't down with them. I hate feeling ashamed. Open it up to page 100, the Puerto Rican girl said, standing close right in front of my desk. I'm not listening to you, I told her. Oh, I should do a Puerto Rican accent. You wasted 18 minutes already, she said. So what? I answered, or blase. I'm Lena, number 2, the diamond needles. You better start showing me some respect, little girl. Page 100. Riot left this for you. Read it and then walked away strutting. I'm not doing a good job. And I'm from Spanish Harlem. I should be ashamed, child. I'm not listening to you. Okay, wait. I'm not listening to you. I told her. So what? I answered. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Lena, number 2, the diamond needles. You better start showing me some respect, little girl. Page 100. Riot left this for you. Read it. And she then walked away strutting. I opened the book thinking, oh, so now she knows I know how to read, huh? Slipped between page 100 and 101 was a folded news article. I opened it up, flipped it around, and smoothed it out with both hands. It was my papa. Wow. My whole little face got hot. My fingers suddenly felt moist. I rubbed my palms together and my tears fell into my hands. Nervously, I looked up to check who was looking. Lena was looking. Her stern face softened, and some soon as she saw my tears, I was angry at myself for crying. Swiftly, I looked away, then down. The photo of Papa had pulled like 1,000 magnets. I stared at it, wish I could fall or leap into the frame and talk to him as if he hugged me warmly like he used to hug Winter. His face looked serious and tight. It was strange to see him there without Mama right beside him. How could they leave her out? The two of them were always the perfect picture. There was no king without a queen, Papa would say. Maybe that's why in the photo he wasn't smiling or calm like he usually was. No queen, no Winter, no Mercedes, no Lexus, no me. Come to think of it, his feeling in the photo and my feeling right now were exactly the same. I shifted my eyes away from the news clip. I picture Papa in my mind. One day he wore a black tailor suit with genuine alligator shoes. Him in his suit, dress shirt, gaiters, and cufflinks were so handsome. He made Mama pause and go silent. She already was dressed up fly, but after she saw Papa, she went back to her bedroom. Her doors closed. Moments later, it opened slowly. She came out looking like $1,000,000, Papa said. I like the picture in my head better than the ones in the newspaper, although no flick of Papa could up or lessen his permanently handsome face. I read New York Daily News, best time, bedtime in Bedford Stuyvesant by Edith, Edith Cates, Brooklyn, New York, February 6, 1996. Ever since the January 1994 arrest of gangster Ricardo Santiago, the takedown of his reputed narcotics machine, there has been peace in the notorious Bedford-Stuyvesant section of Brooklyn, in a sweep that ran through the streets of the sty. Its cracked, vile, strewn alleyways and abandoned buildings over rooftops and stretched to the manicured lawns and mansions of Dix Hills, Long Island. 28 members of Santiago's team were captured, cuffed, arrested, and arraigned. Charges ran from misdemeanors to murders. Crime boss Ricardo Santiago, known for his inevitable management skills. Oh, you was 4 in 96? Child. One moment. Excuse me. Sorry. Enviable management skills, ability to command complete loyalty from his crime partners, was captured in a pre-dawn police raid of his Long Island estate. Santiago, who strangely had no priors despite his 10-year rise to power over $100 million crack empire, managed to rack up a rap sheet overnight that ranged from felony weapons possession to manslaughter to tax evasion, and eventually came to include premeditated murder. Jeez. Fast forward 2 years after Santiago's arrest, Bedford-Stuyvesant has experienced 50% decrease in its murder and 85% decrease in drug-related arrests. Local residents who once were completely silent when questioned by police regarding Santiago now appear happy to let their children out of their apartments and into the new park provided by Mayor Rudolph Giuliani, who is building a safer New York for all law-abiding citizens, replete with a visible increase of neighborhood police presence. Now we can breathe, one Bedford-Stuyvesant resident who asked to remain anonymous said. He would not have been so outspoken if Ricardo Santiago were not behind bars serving natural life. Mm. Whew. The reporter's words were funky. I sat still for a few minutes, maybe more. Then her words and all the images flew out of my mind, and there was just a blank black space. Feelings I had murdered months ago began flooding back in my head and then my heart. My new tears felt like boiling water. The rims of my eyes were hot. I bet the bitch who wrote the article didn't know my father read the New York Daily News every day. Papa would have looked down at the reporter for looking down on her customers. Nobody treated their customers better than Papa. Mama and us even got into trouble with him sometimes if we acted up around our Brooklyn hood. Finally, I took a deep, deep breath, looked up, and Lena's arms were stretched out before me, her holding two tissues. Nina, let me get a sheet of paper. Oh, and an envelope. You got one? I asked. Instead of answering me right back, she used the tissues to wipe away my tears. She held my chin lightly and began wiping my whole face. I felt something. Then Lena's face changed to thought. I believe that I understood exactly what she was thinking. In lockdown, it's difficult to get our hands on anything. It ain't easy like how, you know what, sister? It ain't easy like how easy it was when we was back in our homes to eat, to get even the smallest items required of us to have money on the books at commissary, something of equal of value of trade, or some kind of long requested process, paperwork, and explanation to some consular authority. To get things quickly like we needed and wanted, we'd have to plot, steal, or beat someone's ass for it. I don't steal, I'd rather convince. That would be foolish to think that there's more crime in New York than California. I lost my spot. Lena took back the book with the article stuffed inside on page 100. She returned with the Newsweek magazine. She laid it on my desk without explanation and walked way over where the librarian was. I began talking with her quietly. I listened, but didn't turn my head around. I was flipping the magazine pages, hoping Lena had placed the news article back inside. I found it, along with 2 sheets of paper and one envelope. I addressed the envelope to Edith Cates, the New York Daily News, New York, with no street address and no zip code, because I didn't know it. I figured the mailman had to know it already. He probably had to drag them sacks of mail every day. On the first sheet of paper, that's such a 10-year-old response. On the first sheet of paper, I wrote using the pencil that I was chained to my desk and all the desktops in here. It was on a chain so short I could hardly angle it enough to write. I wrote, Dear Miss Cates, I call you Miss because you probably not married and have no family at all. You probably are a very lonely person who thinks you know everything, but you don't know nothing at all. I don't know how you got that job at the Daily News because you are a liar. No one should let a liar write for a newspaper because people depend on you to tell the truth, especially people who have no other way of finding out if their mother or father or sisters are even dead or alive, or whether or not they are somewhere living their lives with smiles on their faces, or even if they are killed in an accident. My father, Ricky Santiago, is a good man, a hard worker, and a great friend. Every place he went, there was nothing but smiles in Brooklyn. In the summertime, when that ice cream truck rolled around, he would put out $100 bill and give it to Joe, the ice cream man, so every kid outside on the block could eat. Everybody's mother thanked my father for the good things he did all the time. My father gave the best block parties every year. People who didn't even live on our block came around. One time there wasn't One time there must have been more than 1,000 people. That party was the first time I ever danced on stage for an audience. I was 6 years old. You should have heard the people cheer. A few of them even threw money. I don't get it. How y'all could try and make a good family look bad? You steal their children, put them in a place that might look good, but it's bad. I don't know how exactly I don't know exactly where my papa is. From what you wrote, I guess y'all got him in a cage. He can't get out. So y'all comfortable lying on him. Why do y'all love to put people in cages? I can tell he's looking for me. Even in your dull black and white paper, his eyes shine, and I could feel his nose and mouth breathing. That's the only thing I could thank you for. After 739 days, I could say for sure Papa's alive. If you found my father, Ricky Santiago, would you even tell me? You should try and meet him, talk to him. I'll bet you'll fall in love right then and there. But you better not, because my mama will whoop your ass for definite. I be Princess Portia L. Santiago, number 726-1994, royalty. Mail it for me, I said to Lena as she walked up on me from behind and lifted the closed magazine from my desk. I knew she would check the clock, so I did too. There were 7 minutes left before the guard would appear to release me from the chair and move me to my next class. Mail it for me, please, Lena repeated, correcting me softly. I owe you one, I told her. Paper, envelope, stamp, delivery, and my time, she said quietly, pulling down each of her pretty fingers as she counted out my debt. What do you want from me? I asked her. Meet me here at the library every day for the next 7 days during rec. For what? I asked her. You'll say nothing. You'll say it's for math or tutoring because you and me, though, you're going to have to get your shit together if you want to get up with us. Diamond needles. Riot saw something in you, but for me, I won't let you go get away with no little kid tricks. You want to walk and move with the big girls? You grown? You better act like it, mamacita. She strutted away. I watched her. I was thinking she probably would have told me to come here to the library every day for a week, even if I didn't ask to borrow the paper and envelope. The guard came though. I had my eyes on Lena as he uncuffed my ankles. Get up, the guard said. I stood. It all made sense to me. Lena number 2, I thought to myself. The name of our crew is Diamond Needles. That rocks. I thought to myself, sounds beautiful. I pictured Lena standing beside Riot. She made Riot look more good. Girls love to have pretty friends. That way one day we could all walk down the street together knowing that there was no reason for any of us to feel jealous because we was all doing it with our original styles, flair, and finesse. Each girl in our group having plenty of opposition. I would have picked Lena too, definitely. I didn't know if Lena would really mail the letter for me. I figured out not to trust even one mouth moving. It didn't matter. I told myself showing up at the library instead of rec was nothing to me. While I was wearing the red jumper, I couldn't do shit at rec anyway, just be cuffed and stuck. Late that same night, I lay close to Siri, thinking about Riot. Riot must be smart, I thought. Yeah, she told me her story, but it seems she already known my story. Maybe she chose me because she read the words $100 million empire in a news article. Or maybe she knew other things that were written in the newspapers about my family and maybe even about me. But I knew for sure that nothing in the newspaper could be trusted unless you are a part of someone's life every day. Even just with them, most of the time, you will never really know what they had, what happened with them, how they really are, what they do, why they do it, or the way that they feel. Now, you know what? $100 million back in 96. What's up, Rico? $100 million back in 96 is a lot. I bless. Lena asked me when I showed up for my math tutoring. Huh? I answered back. Tu eres Santiago, si no hablas. No hablas? Okay. Tu eres Santiago, si no hablas? She said. What I said? That she understood to speak fucking English. I ain't Spanish, I told her. I'm not Spanish either, Lena said. Her face was relaxed. Her body was still, but her eyes were revealing her fierceness. Yo soy una boricua Puerto Ricano. Don't forget it. So she says, I'm boricua. Okay, I'm not Spanish, I'm boricua, Puerto Rican. Don't forget it, she said to me. But how could I remember something I didn't understand in the first place? I could see why these young chicks want to punch you in the face, Lena said. You come off all wrong, she spoke calmly. But I could tell she was working hard to hold back her temper. Maybe you won't be happy till you got $1.50 in your face. Oh shit. That means sliced in her face. For those who don't know the New York lingo. I know one girl up in here who didn't know how to shut her mouth, so someone sliced her face open with a razor. What would you do if that happened to you? I cut her back, I said, as long as the one who sliced her face was walking around with her face like open too. I would wear my scar. I wouldn't complain. I said honestly, then shrugged my shoulders like I do when I don't have nothing else to say. You stupid, stupid little girl. She said it softly, but it was heartfelt. I didn't let Lena see that she hurt my feelings, but she did. I hated to be put down. I hated for anyone to play me like I was dumb. I hated that I could tell that she really believed that I was stupid. I hated that I liked Lena a lot and she either couldn't tell or didn't care. I hated that now Lena thought I was fighting because I was stuck up, little stupid bitch, and not because I was defending myself. I'm 10. Lena's either 15 or 16. She's in a beige tan jail jumper. Why was she coming so hard for me? Tears bubbled up, then streamed down my face. She got up and came back with a tissue. It was the second time on our second day of meeting. Then she wiped my tears for me while I was red, my wrist controlled on her short chain. My wrist controlled on a short chain, ankles cuffed to a chair. After she did that, I was feeling hate and love towards her, and I was confused. Do you know that when you are pretty, everybody expects you to be stupid? Lena asked me. She was seated back close to me, pretending to be tutoring me in math. Her question repeated in my mind. Do you know that when you're pretty, everyone expects you to be stupid? I sat thinking. Nina is saying that she thinks I'm pretty. That mixed up my feelings for her even more. A girl should never be stupid unless she is pretending to be stupid to save her own life, Nina said. I'm not stupid, I said confidently. How does a stupid person know that she's stupid? Nina asked me. I didn't answer. Exactly, Nina said, as if I had actually answered her question. Exactly what? I asked. If you are stupid, you would be too stupid to know it, she said without smiling or laughing. I still didn't say nothing. When you meet someone who is on your side, start off by introducing yourself. That's what smart people do, Lena said. That's not really smart if I'm just meeting someone. How would I know if they are on my side or not? Why would I tell them my name? I asked. And I meant it. I was looking at Lena, waiting for her to answer. I meant, Lena started to say, whatever. I introduced myself to you. I told you I was Lena number 2, the Diamond Needles. You knew that then I was on your side. Okay, I'm Portia L. Santiago. I'm 10. I like music. I like to dance. I don't like to fight. I don't start fights with anyone, but I will fight anybody who starts a fight with me, even if I don't think I can win. I'm pretty. Lena, you're pretty too. So you know how it is. These ugly bitches got us surrounded. We both laughed. I exhaled a lot and then felt easier with the butterscotch Lena, thought who I had thought had no smile. I like your haircut, I said to Lena suddenly. Did you cut it yourself? I asked. No. We have a salon in Building A. My girl Ginger cut it. She's the Diamond Needle number 9, Lena said. She has a jail job, I asked, all surprised. All Diamond Needles got a hustle. The hair hustle is the biggest payday, but chica, I get mine done for free. Me and Ginger in the same clique, so we have to take care of each other. Lena put her fingers in my hair, stroking through the soft black curls, stopping at her neck. What? Lena put her fingers in her hair, not my hair, in her hair, stroking through the soft black half curls, stopping at her neck, where it was still silky but low and clean. And these aren't jail jobs. You young, but don't forget, we're in prison, not jail. We're convicted, not on trial. We're on lockdown, viewed as violent and a threat to society. I knew all of that, but it sounded even worse when Lena said it all out loud. To make it in here, you got to start off by choosing the right family, the family with the right connection, she said. Like how Riot chose you, I asked her. That's not how it happened, she said, still calm and cool. But it's true with our clique. Girls have to be chosen by either me or Riot. It's the only way to get up with us. Ginger number 9 can't choose nobody. And number 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8, 10, after they in the Diamond Needles, they can't bring nobody in. No nunca, Lena said. Nunca, I repeated. Never, Lena translated. I sat thinking for some time. I knew now that Lena didn't choose me. I wondered if she meant she didn't approve. Maybe she disagreed with Riot's choice. What if Riot wants someone in you don't? I asked. Now, this what I don't know. Confianza, she said. Between me and Riot, there is trust. Confianza. Fianza. Confianza. I never knew that. Okay, so confianza is trust. We don't argue. We just trust each other's choices. We know that if either of us chooses the wrong person, both of us will suffer, then fail. Riot and me always say, if you tell on me, you tell on yourself. So we don't worry. Everyone we deal with has something to lose, something to gain, and something to protect. Riot wouldn't have chosen you if you didn't have something to lose, something to gain, and something to protect. Lena's lesson went on like that. It was more heavy than being in math, science, or English class. I found myself doing way more thinking. Lena placed every word carefully. It seemed like every other sentence from her was laced with a threat and a challenge. Lena told me there are 528 inmates locked down here as of today. In 1 second, that number could increase or decrease. There are 29 gangs in here. In 28 of the crews, you got to get jumped in to get down with them. That means you got to get your ass beat by a whole crew. Maybe they'll fuck up your face or shove a broom in your little tight pussy or tight asshole. Like that ain't enough. You could get ordered to do something dumb, hurt yourself or someone else you don't got no beef with. Then your time here on lockdown doubles or triples, Lena said, like she was disgusted. She was leaning forward in her chair, one hand pressing down on her leg and the other on her hip. All that shit is retarded. We don't get down like that. We're pretty and we're smart. We make moves that dumb ones can't figure out. We money girls, she said, and she was definitely speaking my language now. What if one of them 28 other gangs decide they don't like the Diamond Needle girls? What if one Diamond Needle girl gets jumped? Do the rest of our clique supposed to let that slide just because we supposed to be smarter and prettier than everybody else who's locked up in here, same as us? I asked. No, we pay any big bitch back, but not the way they expect. We run this prison. The Diamond News are in the right places. Everything runs through us or by us. Every Diamond Needle girl is in a power position. Since we got the power, we make the money, we get the respect. If anyone crosses us, we don't beat them with our fists. Why should we fuck ourselves up? We outsmart them. We squeeze them. Squeeze them, I repeat. Squeeze them, she repeated. Each day with Lena brought a new lesson, a new assignment, and a new understanding. I ain't slow, so I caught on and caught up. There were 7 days of lessons. Lessons 1 was trust, followed by silence, loyalty, friendship, teamwork, style, and method. On the last day of my 7 lessons, Lena said to me, being la bambina más joven, the youngest of the Diamond Needles clique, is a double-edged position. So La Bambina is like the youngest, right? But what's Mas Joven? Joven. Joven. Bambina, I don't know what that last word means. No hablando español, pero me comprende intermedio, okay? Carajo. The older girls will feel even more protective over you. They might try and spoil you. Some might even expect less from you. On the other hand, since you are the youngest, you have to show all your big sisters the most respect. Answer to all the members, and you'll follow the most. What's Joven? What's Joven mean? Young MIA. The older girls will feel even more protective over you. They might try and spoil you. Some might even expect less from you. On the other hand, since you are the youngest, you have to show all the big sisters the most respect, answer to all of the members, and you'll follow the most amount of instructions. Oh, okay. Lena also told me not to milk the baby thing. If I wanted to be equal, should work hard and earn my status. I noticed Lena called the other diamonds her sisters, while Riot called me and Siri her sons. I didn't think on it too long. Family is family. Oh, these two girls probably lesbians, and Riot is the father, and Lena's the mother. No, I don't know. Even though the seventh lesson completed my training, I wanted to stay close to Lena. I liked her. She was smart and pretty, serious but still fun. She was warm if you got to know her, and cold if you didn't. For me, style and method were the hardest lessons of all. For style, I had to use manners. I wasn't used to being you. I wasn't used to using. I had to introduce myself to each of the diamond needles separately. I had to remember their names and numbers. I had to learn their likes, dislikes, and requests, and be on call to help any one of our team at any time that I could. I had to give each diamond needle a tribute or a gift. The gift giving wasn't so bad. I understood that in here you couldn't get something for nothing. Plus, I still had my candy hustle going. I dreamed up an idea that I would put in motion immediately. I'd make some little packets in arts and crafts. Sylvia would decorate them. I'd put in my assorted candies, and that would be my gift. For people on the outside, that might not be shit. But in here, a little sugar was hard to obtain and could take me far. For method, Lena explained, you have to be disciplined enough to follow a plan of action. You have to think with all the young girls in here in mind and not only yourself. You have to respond to all communications as quickly as possible. You have to make sure you don't mess up or interrupt what the DN, that's Diamond Needles, is trying to achieve. What are we doing first? I asked. It's your first thing, but to us, it's just one more thing that we're doing in the middle of everything else that we're doing. She said, I seen that Lena liked to remind me that I was the young one. We were the last ones to be chosen, Siri and me. I'm glad Siri made it in. It seemed like she thought I was the most likely to fuck up. Out of the loyalty to Riot and respecting the DN code of silence, I wasn't telling Lena that I had chose Siri to be in the Diamond Needles and that Riot approved of it. Lena believed that the only she and Riot could choose members, but having Siri in the gang was a condition of my hooking up with them. So what am I doing first? I corrected myself for Lena. You're not going to fight with anyone else, she said, with the most mean look and serious face since me and her first met. You're going to let us handle the cha-cha beef. Ciao. Oh my God. You're going to let us handle the cha-cha beef. You are going to make it to the Festival de la Familia, she said, speaking Spanish again. Then she said in English, the annual family festival, which no prisoner can attend if they have one violent episode 90 days prior to the festival date, which is on Saturday, July 20th, 1996. Okay, but I started saying, you've been locked down here for almost 3 years. You missed 2 festivals because of fighting. The third one is coming up in 4.5 months, she said. Cha-Cha's fucking crazy. You think I can schedule my fights with her? Whenever she flips out and fucks with me. So I fight her. Are you smarter than her or is she smarter than you? Lena asked. You already know, I said swiftly. Or Riot would have chosen Cha-Cha for the Diamond Needles instead of me, I said confidently. Good. Then do as I say. Stop allowing her to deal you the same hand every time. Cha-Cha is controlling you. If she keeps you fighting, she keeps you from having privileges, Lena said. She loses privileges too, I answered back swiftly. So what? She's nobody. She's ignorant. She don't make a real moves. She doesn't make money. She don't have no organized team. She don't do nothing but keep the trouble brewing, Lena said, her temper showing only through her eyes. Portia, you have to make everyone believe that you have changed by changing your method of reacting and doing things. Even if you haven't really changed on the inside, like your feelings and stuff, you have to make them believe that you have, Lena said. And I felt at that moment that that was what she had done. On the inside, she was angry and boiling like me. For some reason, she saw or learned a benefit to convincing others that she wasn't. Santiago, Lena said, calling me by my name. I liked the way it sounded coming from her lips. So different than the other wardens. Make customers, not war. Lena said, sounding like my papa. The festival's only time of year where 4 hours and 15 minutes we can roam freely on the yard and mix with other people who aren't locked down like us. Some of us get only 1 day a year for our family member to travel all the way up here and visit us. Or it's only chance to see somebody we really like, not through a glass or dirty bulletproof plastic or some other bullshit phone or through a fence or a gate. Not sitting in a small room without a chance to even touch or hug. Some girls got business in the yard or on festival day. There are always competition and prizes, good shit that can be won and sold. We diamond needles are all about business and opportunities. And once a year, the festival is an opportunity for us to each do something different, earn something extra, and see somebody special. You too, Santiago. Lena had me open. It was not because of no fucking festival though. I just liked her and the feeling coming from her and the way she made me feel like she believed in something. More than that, she made me feel like even though she doubted me, she loved me. Of course she loved me. She sat and spoke to me and listened to me when I spoke. She taught me things I needed to know and gave me things I didn't have to give. When she got mad or something I said, she didn't give up or abandon me. She took the time to explain herself and her meaning. Even though I knew Lena would say so, she knew I was smart enough, even though I was young. She wouldn't have wasted her time if she wasn't sure I was capable. The last question I asked her before parting, you all say the diamond needles have a hustle. What's yours, Lena? Data, she said. I thought she was speaking in Spanish again. Data is information. It's the most important hustle, not only in here, but in total, el mundo, the whole world. Child, I've been stumbling like a drunk, Monty. Wasn't my best read, but we're gonna get back at it with chapter 7 and 8 tomorrow. I think I'm gonna stick to 2 chapters because I need to wind down and get ready for work tomorrow. Ah, so yeah. So I probably I'm looking to probably come on around this time every night. Because this is a good time. Give me a little bit of time to get to sleep and everything. So probably like 9 p.m. weekdays, I'll come on and read 2 chapters. But yeah, I was stumbling, child. Hopefully y'all got the drift. Oh, cha cha is Spanish for yeah. It's but I think it was like cha cha, like more so like the dance though. Young MIA. So yeah, I will see you all next week. I think I want to start. I want to go back and retitle them. Like once I kind of know what the chapter's about. So I think I want to retitle these lives and put them in a playlist. That'll come later on. What did you say? Okay, good, Steph. I forgot I asked that question. Okay, good, MIA. Young MIA. Okay, that was a rough one for me, child. I ain't even gonna hold you. You would have thought I had a third grade education, child. Anyway, I'll talk with you all soon. Have a beautiful rest of the night. See you out here on these YouTube streets. Thank you, Monty, for coming through. Thank you, Young MA. Thank you, Steph. I'll see y'all later, all right? Peace.